mind if I see if the site works?
Yes, you are there.
I am there. Yeah, okay.
Why?
Oh. I probably should cut back on. Totally works. Frame rate is awful, but it totally works.
You post that on the group?
Yeah. Okay.
It's actually a good idea.
Yeah, I was kind of, this is very last minute. Like, super last minute. I don't know how to... You? Who? Go away.
These are the on-deck shares.
Can I borrow someone's laptop?
What's wrong? I'll just try.
I just want to see if it, like...
Right on there.
Yeah. Laptop.
I did, yeah.
I don't know. It's on there, so like.
Oh, the camera's starting yet.
True enough.
Yo. What?
Wilson, you have your laptop?
Oh, you want my laptop?
Yeah, can I borrow it? I want to test it. Fine. My phone's life food. I want to test to see if it works. My laptop video camera and audio from here. It's super laggy. That's my laptop. It's literally streaming from that camera.
Oh!
It's just really delayed. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to as soon as I test to make sure it works. Come on. How do I search for people?
What's the URL?
What's the URL?
Where is the URL? That's
That's the server. No. I think I can get to it by... How do you get to someone's YouTube channel?
Okay, like settings. Oh, there you go. Yeah. All right. Okay, copy that.
Oh.
That's one.
Wait, I can't.
You type it in.
Yeah, okay, you type it in. I'm trying. No, I have to put it on Facebook.
No. Oh, on Facebook. Okay.
Use it. Type it in.
Don't worry about that.
There we are, laughing. Okay, it totally works. I don't know where to put the laptop, so like, I'll just put it on that person's desk, and that'll totally work. Well, we want to be able to see the people, right? Or see the screen.
Oh yeah, you're right. Never mind, you're right.
Yeah, we'll just put it on that person's desk.
Oh yeah, we should be good.
Okay, I'll post it in the group. I mean, in the event. Although this is kind of awkward because it's my...
Kind of awkward.
You know what, can I post it from your computer? Because I don't want to be sitting here posting things from my... But it's like streaming my face. Oh well, okay. Event. Well, they'll get notification if they said they're coming. I do, but I'll post it in both.
Yeah.
It's just gonna have a link of you, like.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be my face. I'm like, post. Okay. Can I use your desk for live streaming purposes? Great. Yay.
Yeah, look at the review. So I mean, all the reviews are because of software. Like the 5-star reviews are because of like the hardware. The 1-star reviews are because they hate the software. Really?
How's my battery doing? Probably fine.
You can right now. Oh wow.
It's like the.
That's the remote.
Yeah, that's the. It's not what's actually showing on YouTube right now.
Yeah, sure.
But it's like the live feed. It's not real time. I hope the sound actually works. The sound. Where is it? Did you do it?
Where is it?
Yeah.
Currently.
For the benefit of our.
Oh, I'm So where is it?
Yeah, it's the microphone for the live stream.
Oh. Okay. Which way does it go?
Like
This
that.
way.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Hey guys. Hey, I'm Poe, by the way.
I'm Allie.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
I mean, instead of like trusting, it's like. Well, I mean, you can kind of collaborate, right? Do they see each other or?
This is what it looks like.
Yeah, they're sitting right across the.
It's still totally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
I feel like it took some photons to make. So we have to figure out like I can make it. Like do what? These 2 photons. Right? Oh, that's the red. That's the red. There's a red. There's a red one. Recording information that I just clicked on design, but only not being a form factor. Hello?
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, more people can be like the wire. I can just have it on a single interface. Yeah. And that's easier too because I can just have a surface.
That is fine, yeah. That's fine, that's fine. You can start.
And then you
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, do it for 100. Yeah, and also cups for the next one. Yeah. Yeah, whatever the charge is, it's fine. Okay. You can start. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, everyone, thank you very much for coming. I'm sure more people will continue to trickle in. But Poe, who is from XP, who was gracious enough to sponsor this event, he has to catch a plane that leaves like really, really soon. So we're just going to jump right into Poe.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks very much, Avi. It's an enormous pleasure to be able to sponsor an event like this. I should say, actually, I'm not a super hacker like all of you guys. I'm a casual hacker. So let's talk about math. So what we're trying to do here is actually we're trying to multiply, okay? So we're trying to take the number of people, what XP is about, and also what we're hoping to help all of you with. What XP is about is multiplying. You know, there's this number of people in the world who like math and science. We're trying to multiply that by 10. So now, how do you go about doing such a thing? Obviously, that's when all the technology comes in. That's why I'm very proud to have our team members here, Cassie and Taylor and Robert. And they'll be distributing T-shirts afterwards if you want any of the first run of XP shirts. But the great thing that we have today is we have the fact that if you want to go around an entire system which may or may not be difficult to penetrate due to bureaucracy, You can today because everyone has one of these. So if you wanted to, for example, do something to improve education, you don't actually need to go and sell things to schools. You can just try to build something that goes into the hands of everyone. And so with regard to XP, that's actually what we do. We were very proud to have some great interns on our team last summer, including Avi and Felipe and Kumail, all of whom are here actually. And in general, we're interested in partnering with CMU. And we know that there's an enormous amount of talent here, which is actually possibly interested in changing the world for the better. Just to say a little tiny tidbit about what we do, because this is not ours for a demo, just to give some idea of what we do, the way we're trying to change the world is to make it so that anyone in the world can learn for free from anyone else's lessons. So you don't actually have to be, for example, Khan anymore in order to post on Khan Academy. And instead, you can learn from actually, say, interactive explanations. For example, like this one. You don't need sound. More importantly, you can see that this is like a not hour-long video. And immediately following that, there's some sort of feedback, some sort of question and answer where if you're learning, you have to think. And if you answer, say, incorrectly, then you get the feedback as if you had an interactive tutor at your fingertips, which was for free, explaining for you what to do next or what you have to do in order to go next to continue your lesson, and so on. So I'm not trying to give an entire demo here, but I'm just trying to say this is the beginning of something that if you want to have more of a conversation with, we have some of our team members here who are happy to talk to you. But on a broader picture, why did we choose to sponsor an event like this? Because actually what we're all about is we're actually, as a company, all about empowering everyone to help everyone. And in some sense, the enthusiasts of the world are amazing. Enthusiasts make all sorts of awesome stuff. In this case, these are somehow like hacks, like learning hacks. But actually, there's a whole lot of stuff on GitHub out there. And there are a lot of hackathons. And in some sense, what we're looking at here is a wonderful community of CMU enthusiasts. So it's directly along our mission to try to encourage all of you to do as much as you can. And of course, if you're interested in talking to us more about possibly working together with us, please talk to any of our team after the session during the pizza session. I really have to apologize. I myself wanted to be here for the whole thing, but unfortunately, I actually have to be on an airplane at 7:50 p.m. And that's just how we run at XP, okay? But anyway, thanks very much for coming. Sure. All yours, Abby. Have a great session.
Thanks so much, though. Okay, so just to give you a sense, if people I know we're like super packed. This is the biggest room we could get on a short notice. One thing is, this is actually being live streamed. So if you like really can't stand for like 40 minutes, you could like go to a different room and then watch this. I think the link has been posted to the Facebook group. Yeah. Okay, good, awesome. So we are MellonHeads. You are now MellonHeads because you've showed up. Basically, this is us right now. We have a core team of 10 people while we're in this sort of interim phase. MellonHeads is a very new organization. We sort of officially started last spring. We made this sort of announcement at Tartan Hacks, which you should all go to. It's coming up in January. Basically, we are the sort of hackathon enthusiast community at CMU. We promote hackathons that aren't organized by CMU. We promote hackathons that are organized by CMU. And we do events like this that kind of celebrate hackathon culture, celebrate just the real spirit of making things and all that kind of stuff. So we hang out online. We have a Facebook group, MellonHeads. I assume, how many people are in that Facebook group? Raise your hand. Okay, that's like pretty much all of you. That is like the #1 way we communicate with people. We don't yet have a mailing list. So if you're interested in learning about things that we do, definitely join that group. One thing that we're really proud of at MellonHeads, and if you look on this slide, we're not just all the School of Computer Science. I'm not even a computer science major. I'm actually cognitive science. We have people from design, obviously computer science, engineering, all kinds of other places. And that's something we really, really are passionate about, which is the idea that hackathons are not just for hackers. This is kind of like a weird concept because a hackathon is like, you just kind of imagine, and I'll show you in a second, you know, just sort of people that are like writing code in a dark corner or whatever, drinking a lot of Red Bull, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. One thing we really like thinking about at MellonHeads, we had a dinner for the core team a little while ago, and we were like, why can't we do hackathons for like writing majors? Why can't we do hackathons for people writing improv guitar songs or improv comedy shows? And so we don't have anything to sort of announce yet, but we're really interested in sort of the intersection of like the hackathon model and totally different like fields, backgrounds, genres, etc. So that's kind of like our core mission: promote hackathons and also expand what people think a hackathon is. So just to give you a sense of sort of the things we've done, our very first event was in March. It was called Collab Night. We did it in Newell Simon. It was pretty cool. We had like 30, 40 people come through, I think. Basically, it was just a very informal, people getting together, working on stuff. We were learning some web development. We had people working on 112 term projects they were continuing. We had people working on hackathon projects. It was just a really cool time. Chris, who is not here, but he's one of the core team members, made a really cool hack with Google Cardboard. We brought pizza. We're going to do that again, thanks to XP sponsorship. And then we did this again, actually in this room, except there were like a fifth of as many people in here that time. So we did Collab Night number 2. It was a different format. Instead of just kind of a casual hack night experience, it was more like what today is going to be, and I'll explain what we're going to do in a second. But basically, we just had a bunch of students. We even had prospective students. I think, is Devansh here? I'm not sure. You were there. Yeah, we actually had a prospective student who wrote on his sleeping bag weekend, like, why do you want to come to CMU? Like, what are you interested? He wrote MellonHeads. And so someone contacted us, and they're like, hey, there's this kid who's like interested in MellonHeads, and we had him speak at our event. And so we basically just had 5-minute lightning talks of people just showing stuff that they're interested in. And we had people talking about fractal art. We had Ford, I'm not sure if he's here, but he's part of Computer Club, and they have all this really cool retro hardware. And he brought in this thing called the Vectrex, which is like this really cool vector graphics, old school computer from like the 70s, and he was showing that. And so yeah, we just kind of chilled. And of course there was pizza. For this event, we're calling it Hackathons Demystified, and we're kind of taking a step back. So a lot of the people that came to those events were sort of already familiar with hackathons. They were already in the community, but we're really trying to reach out to people who aren't necessarily familiar with what hackathons are and really explain what they are and sort of, you know, I'll explain in a minute, but we've talked to a lot of people on our campus and been like, hey, what's a hackathon? Have you been to a hackathon? And pretty much everyone at CMU knows what a hackathon is or has some vague general conception of it, but very few people, surprisingly, have actually been to hackathons, considering that all of them should, we think. So the whole point of this event is to sort of demystify hackathons, to really understand what is a hackathon, what does it take to do one, and why you should go. So to hype this up, we bought a lot of watermelons. So something you have to understand is that we are not currently an official student organization, which is something that we're actively working on. That's why the core team exists, basically as an interim sort of structure while we write a constitution and seek official recognition from the school. So we've had to do some clever hacks to get around this. For example, this room was booked through ACM at CMU. We weren't actually allowed to table at the activities fair, so we said, okay, that's fine. We don't really need a table. We just need a cart full of watermelons. So we created the Melon Mobile, and basically we bought $50 worth of watermelons thanks to XP sponsorship. We cut them all up, and we just rolled our cart into the activities fair, parked ourselves in a corner, and handed out like 400 slices of watermelon, 300 flyers. Did anyone raise your hand if you actually saw us at the activities fair? Cool. That's like a lot of people. So we're really glad that paid off. So yeah, that's us. You can check out our website at mellonheads.org. Our website isn't super fantastic right now, but if any of you are interested in contributing to that, we have a GitHub. So that's a basic TLDR of MellonHeads. To summarize, we are actively working on becoming an official student organization. We're drafting a constitution right now. Hopefully in the next 2 months, we'll gain official recognition status, and then we'll be able to do even bigger events. We'll be able to book bigger rooms and do more stuff. But until then, that's kind of the short summary. So actually now let me explain to you how this is going to work. So we're now sort of between these two things. You don't really need to read this. This is mostly just for my reference. So we've assembled a panel of 5 student speakers. If you are one of those speakers, please raise your hand. We've got, I see Laura, Rajat, Russell, 2 more people on their way coming at 7. These are people who are hackathon veterans, both at CMU. Laura's actually from University of Pittsburgh. Raise your hand if you're from Pitt. Awesome. Great to have you guys here. There's actually a sort of a sister organization at Pitt, which Chef heads up. Starting it, if you want to say a word.
I didn't announce it yet.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's called Steelhead, aka MellonHeads at Pitt. Yeah, because, Pitt Head doesn't sound too good. Gonna call it Steelhead. It's gonna be essentially doing the same thing. So far, I think we're just gonna do joint events. I'm gonna bring pitch students over to MellonHeads events. Fill up more rooms essentially. Eventually, we're probably gonna start throwing our own events and obviously invite all of MellonHeads. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. So we've got this great panel of 5 people, and we've sort of broken down the hackathon experience into 5 key areas. Team working. Once you have a team, how do you work with them? Team forming. Before you can do that, you have to find a team. Design, how to make an app that looks good and has great user experience. And hardware. Recently, a lot of hackathons have been providing 3D printing and all kinds of other tools and like servo motors and stuff. And people at CMU are really good at taking advantage of that. In fact, the team that is going to be presenting the hardware talk, which is the last part of our talk, these talks are like very short, like lightning talks, like 5 minutes. They actually just won the grand prize at Penn Apps for their hardware hackathon. Could we give them a round of applause? So that's really awesome. So we're really in for a treat. We've got a great panel. But before we do all of that, I'm just going to run through very quickly sort of like what is a hackathon? Because raise your hand if you're not entirely sure what a hackathon is. Okay, that's a sizable portion. So, Rajat, I saw that. So I'm just going to very quickly, actually last October, that doesn't look right. There we go. Last October, through Scotty Labs, which is an organization that's like, got Oscar here from Scotty Labs, and Taylor. My bad. A lot of Scotty Labs people. They're a really great organization. They basically promote, well, they can tell you more about them. But basically, they organize a bunch of events to promote knowledge about web development, and they do a hackathon at CMU. And in the fall, they usually do something called Crash Course. I'm not sure, are you guys doing it again this year? They will be doing it again, where it's just kind of student speakers give like longer sort of lectures about various topics which are interesting to them. So last year, I gave a talk about hackathons, it was way longer. It was like an hour long. I just summarized it into like 5 minutes. So yeah, there was like all this like different parts to it. But to get a sense of it, I'm going to show you a trailer from MHacks. MHacks, raise your hand if you were at MHacks at any point. Cool, yeah. So MHacks was just last weekend. It's the University of Michigan's hackathon. It's like one of the largest hackathons. They bring in people from all around the world, and especially the United States and Canada. And they did a trailer for, I think, the 3rd one. I think they're, what, on the 5th one now? Sixth. I think this is from 3 times ago. Oh wait, hold on. Let me see if I can get the sound going. Oh, what are the odds I'm actually going to get the sound going? Oh, we got it. Perfect. Okay, so that simultaneously told you absolutely nothing about what a hackathon is, and gave you a general sense of what a hackathon is. So a very brief definition, which I totally pulled out of my butt. An event lasting a couple days usually, in which a large number of people meet to engage in collaborative programming and designing. So what you got from that video was just kind of the sense of some of the emotions that are kind of evoked by a lot of hackathons. You've got a lot of corporate sponsorships. So you saw at the end they had like Google, Apple, Facebook. You have a lot of college spirit. So CMU is one of the best represented schools at a lot of these events. But you also get, you know, Stanford, UIUC comes out to a lot of events, University of Maryland. And there's sort of these hacker communities within these universities, and it's like a very cool bonding experience for them to, you know, get on a bus or get on a plane and come to these events. And then at the event, there's kind of a celebration of the epicness of like making things. So you saw some like really cool, like someone had like a guitar that had like an iPhone attached to it. Someone had an Oculus. That's kind of the idea. Basically, I've heard them described as inventathons, where basically for 24 to 36 to 48 hours, there's different variations on the format. People basically get together and build stuff. And if that sounds vague, it's because hackathons are generally pretty open-ended. People make things from very simple websites to very complicated mobile apps. The coolest hack I think I ever saw was someone built sort of like a Rube Goldberg machine with a robotic arm that you give it a piece of a sample of your handwriting, it scans it, it learns your handwriting, and then the mechanical arm, which they made out of like toothpicks and like a pen, will actually solve math problems in your own handwriting. Why is this useful? I have absolutely no idea. But it was really cool. So that just gives you a sense of some of the things. So a lot of things just tend to be traditional apps, websites, but people go crazy. Who should go? You. So because these things are so open-ended, pretty much the only thing that limits it is your own imagination and your own skills. I really think that we need to be seeing more people who are designers, more people who are business majors, more people who are creative writing, more people who are drama. All these different majors have things to contribute to hackathons. It doesn't just have to be programming or whatever. It's not very fun if you just have 4 programmers saying like, what cool new language can we use? You know, it's way cooler if we can say like, how can I do something that simultaneously satisfies my statistics homework and my creative writing homework and like, I don't know, just all kinds of weird combinations. So why should you go? Obviously, because it's fun. That's honestly, when I talk to people, the number one reason people tend to go to hackathons. It's like a very cool event. You basically just get on a bus or a plane, like I said, with people, hang out for a weekend, meet a lot of cool new people. There's free food. There's people running around tired. There's people running around with, you know, crazy hardware on their head. It's like a lot of fun. You can learn new things. So there's this kind of this weird paradoxical relationship with hackathons where people sort of feel that they need to be like a super skilled like lead hacker to go to a hackathon, but then everyone's always saying like new people should go to hackathons and you should go to hackathons to learn. And the reality is both are true and everyone does both at all hackathons. I've never been to a hackathon where I didn't learn something, and I've never been to a hackathon where I guess whatever the inverse of that statement is. I've always learned stuff and I've always helped other people learn, yeah. So like for example, if you're working on a team that's building a website, you might be really good at designing websites, or you might be really good with the specific domain that the website or the project is dealing with. But you might pick up web development chops or vice versa. Find internships. This is a really big reason a lot of people go to hackathons. You saw from the cheesy video that like tons of companies come to sponsor this event. Why do these companies sponsor this event? To talk to people like us. They literally sometimes, I remember one company, I guess I'm not supposed to name them, but they were literally giving out like free iPod Nanos to anyone who would talk to them. They were like, we have a lounge, we have bean bags, we have an arcade room, we have Red Bull, please come talk to us. Just for coming talk to us, we'll give you an iPod Nano. And surprisingly, a lot of people didn't do it because they were busy having fun. But yeah, and you get to play with cool toys. I'm sure you've seen, like in that video and just in pictures of your friends going to hackathons, there's all this cool new hardware. There's like the Oculus, there's the Leap Motion, there's all the smartwatches like Pebble and Apple Watch and all that kind of stuff. A lot of these events will have this hardware available for you to play with. Often they're prizes for various ways you can win a hackathon. Of course, the real way to win a hackathon is just to show up. And yeah, and for me, I've been going to hackathons for a couple years now, and for me, it's just like a giant reunion with my friends who go to all kinds of different schools. I don't really get to see them except at hackathons. So it's always really interesting to sort of catch up with everyone, hang out for a weekend. We always try to switch up the team, so we're working with people that haven't worked before, and people always bring their friends, and then they join the group, and it ends up being a ton of fun. So just to give you a little bit of a taste of just some shenanigans that can go on at a hackathon. 2 weekends ago with Penn Apps, I brought 120 people from CMU to Penn Apps. Penn Apps is one of the largest hackathons. They had about 2,000 people there. 2 buses full went. I was actually mentoring this time, but I still had time to make a little hack Sunday night, and I just wanted to show you this video.
So we have these awesome mentors that won Penn Apps a little while ago, and they wanted to show off something that they built. Right here. Hey guys! Who loves me?
My friend Jason.
Are we on the screen? We gotta.
This always happens. This is an integral part of the hackathon experience, not being able to connect to anything.
About midnight, we got kind of bored with mentoring, and so we're like, let's just Google dank memes and see what we come up with. So we have a Chrome extension, and it'll become very obvious what it does. So I'm gonna look up my friend Jason, and he's got a bunch of cool photos, and I've got this Chrome extension loaded, and when I click on the photo, meme. And this works in real time. What we're doing is we're actually extracting the positioning information that Facebook's image recognition uses, and it just puts it in the document for us, and then we just overlay them with funny memes. And this works for any number of people. It works very well for example, a selfie, like you can see on my timeline. Thank you very much. That's all we got. Download it at bit.ly/.
Link's still up. You can still get it. Anyway, so that's just kind of a general sense of what hackathons are. Now to get into some more specifics, Laura is going to tell us all about teamworking.
Okay, I'm Laura. I'm from Pitt. I've been to. Oh, okay. Cool. So restart. Okay, I'm Laura. I'm from Pitt. I've been to a lot of hackathons, and I've worked with some really great teams. And I'm here to tell you about teamworking today. Okay, so teamwork is essentially like a sport. So you're playing with your team to win at the hackathon or learn something new or build something really awesome. And you come together to achieve a common goal. And what makes a good team? So you're united to complete a common goal. And what's really special is you engage all members of your team. So each member brings a diverse skill set. Someone might be really good at back end, front end. You might recruit a designer to your team. And all of these people will help your hack succeed. Another thing to do on a team is have open communication. Really talk to people on your team. Make sure you understand what you're working towards, and make sure everyone's on the same page. My first hackathon was Hack MIT, and I worked with 2 of my MIT friends. Hackathons, like Ari said, are great for meeting up with your friends and hacking with them. We also met a guy from UTexas Austin, and he was on our team. He worked on the back end. My second hackathon was MHacks, and I worked with a team of 5 women. It was a hardware hack, so we did hardware and programmed an LED cube, which was pretty cool. For my third hackathon, which was Tartan Hacks, we recruited a friend who was a designer to work on our team, and she did some awesome graphics. I did a few other hackathons as well, and went to Penn Apps. And good teams have fun while hacking too. So it's really important to go get some Red Bull, keep fueled while you're hacking, maintain a good level of energy, maybe grab a unicorn, take some awesome selfies with your team, build a sense of community, and have a great time with your team. Everyone who is on your team has something you can learn from. They can teach you something new. Maybe you'll adopt a freshman onto your team or someone who's never hacked before and teach them something that they can then share when they come back from their hackathon experience. So teamworking is easy and fun. You get to share your skills. Be open to ideas that others have on your team. And it's all about the teams. The teams are awesome. They energize you like a Red Bull. You can apply your skills on the project. Your teammates and you together make a killer presentation. And sleep, your team members keep you hacking on. So that's a little bit about the team flow and team working. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, my name's Russell Hawkins. I'm going to talk about demos. So this is going to be after you've made a whole hack and it's all together, and you actually have to go in front of real humans and show them this thing that you've made. So after the hacking is all over, you have to turn in your project to dev post, and you're going to go into this room with possibly, I mean, if it's a small room, you can have from 30 to 2,000 hackers if you're like at PinApps, which I was at 2 weeks ago, and then MHacks last week, which is awesome. You have so many people. You work all these 2, 1 night, whatever, and you're going hard this whole time. You're so into this, and then you finish, and then you turn it in, and then you like stop for a second, and you're like, okay, what did I actually do? What is this thing that I have to show people? So you have a project that you'll see after 2 days or just 1 day of hacking is like your kid. You've worked this whole time, and you think it's the most amazing thing in the world. I mean, you could make one LED that lights up, and that's it, and you'll think it's the next big thing. Everyone will want one. What you have to do is convey all that feeling and what you did to the judges. When the judges come up to you and you're first presenting your hack, so many people get so caught up in the fact that they made this whole thing that they don't tell the judges anything, to be honest. Like when the judge comes up, they have no idea how hard your hack was, what it even does in the first place, how well it works, what you put in, your level of enthusiasm, anything. All they can really see is, oh, look, it looks pretty. Who knows, right? So when you first present your project, you're going to want to draw people in. You're going to use a lot of fancy stuff. Most judges, their first instinct is, how hard is your project on a scale of 0 to use the Oculus? And that's all they know. You want to, Rasat made that joke, by the way. So you want to draw people in and make something that looks fun and is as interesting to others as you feel about it yourself. And that doesn't have to be in the prettiness of what you're showing off. It could be in yourself. Everyone wants to go up to someone who's smiling, who's being outgoing, who's talking loud after 2 days of no sleep and your eyes are red and you're having a great time and you're going on all just brute love of your project at that point. So you want to give off that feeling, and after these 2 days, you're gonna really feel that. You're gonna really love what you're doing. It's an amazing experience, and you just gotta convey that to the people you're showing. So once you're finally have people there, you made your project, it looks great, everybody's coming in, you have 3 things that you really have to tell the judges. The first major thing is what your hack actually does. You'll be surprised how many judges come up and then the person's like, yeah. It's right there. There you go. You have to tell them what your hack does. I make games almost strictly. So it's all presentation. You come up, you're like, hey, this is my game. You can do this, so and so. No one really cares how, like, what I did on this. Like, ooh, is it fun? But when you make, like, apps, so on and so forth, you have to say exactly what your app does, how people can use it, and what it's for. The reason you have to tell you what it's for is the second you give meaning to your project and what it's for, it completely grows just the value of your project. So let's say you make a hack that you're saying, yeah, it can make water out of nothing. People are like, yeah, that's great. That's cool. Yeah, they're not going to be super surprised or anything. It's not like you did magic. But then the second you say, I made this hack for certain reasons, I went to, an impoverished country and saw that they didn't have water there to drink or so on and so forth, no drinking water. This makes magic water, so they are now going to be okay. Now everyone is going to love your project. They're going to flock around, and they're going to think you're amazing, and they're going to love you. Okay, third thing, you have to say how complex your project was. So many people underplay their own projects. You want to actually tell the judges what you did. It's okay to brag. It's as fun as it is. There's prizes and stuff that are really nice to get, and you can get them if you tell the judges what you did. If you just say, here's an app that does so-and-so, and they're like, they don't really understand that facet of their phone, or they don't understand how you did it. The second you say, oh, by the way, this is something that, master students across the United States have been trying to do for years, or by the way, my little brother tried to do this and he couldn't, and I could. It's automatically just great, and then the judges are going to love you, and they're going to not like your little brother. That's a lie. They'll love your little brother too. Okay, so you need to show them how much you care. Everyone loves enthusiasm. Everyone loves someone who loves something else. Someone could come up. Do you know the moment when little kids come up and show you their terrible, terrible drawing, but they love it, and they think it's so amazing, and then suddenly you're looking, you're like, it's a pretty good drawing. I kind of like this. It's all about how you feel and how you make others feel about what you did, and that shows why they should care. You need to vocalize why your project is important to you, even if it's a small thing. I make games. My game's not probably going to like save someone's life, but it could save someone from boredom, which I experience on a regular basis, and therefore I care. And then you can also show how your hack could grow. If you made something in 2 days, they're probably going to think that if you had another 2 years, you could do more with it. It's good to show that this thing can get bigger and go on to do better things. Maybe in 2 days you can only make a small facet of what could grow to be something that people all across the United States use one day, all across the world use one day, all across the universe use one day. Lastly, this is a surprising one. Don't tell them all the bugs in your code, because so many people go out of their way. They're like, I made this app. It doesn't actually work if you do this, but it works in other cases. You control the show. There's 6 buttons on here. I click the first one. It works. I'm done. The other buttons, who knows? So, finally, once you get all this presentation and you show them that you love it, they love it, you show them all the great things, you possibly maybe don't show the not so great things, the next step is simple. You rake in the prizes, like Rashad here. You've done all the things that you can do, and the prizes aren't just the prizes that you get at the hackathon, maybe like getting first, second place, so on and so forth. It's, friendship. You meet so many people. Like, that's such a big thing. I don't think people get. Hackathons, the hacks are amazing, like, no doubt. But I have 3 friends from Germany that I met strictly at hackathons and see on a 6-month basis. And it's pretty cool because every time I see them, it feels like the last day. Like, I just saw them maybe a week ago. And it's amazing knowing that you have friends all across the whole world just because you do something, they do something, and it brings you together. Like, in the end, that's what hackathon's about, is bringing people with a common goal and a common love together, which is hacking, which encompasses so many things. So make something great, show it's great, other people think it's great, greatness, great. There you go. I do. Oh, yeah, yo.
Oh. Actually, hold on. Somewhere there is a tab that has what I want.
In the meantime, who doesn't know what GitHub is? Me. Okay, it's a website that people go on. You can share your code and work together. Great. Awesome. Someone said GitHub earlier. Great.
No.
This one.
For stalling on the topic of non-functioning buttons, Fuji, which Avi and I once had apps with, had at least 3 or 4 major features that didn't exist that we just pretended were there. Right?
Same for fifth then.
Controlling the show.
4 out of 6 buttons didn't actually properly.
2 buttons though.
Well, they did work, but just not the way you wanted them to. All right. So I'm Rajat. This is about finding the right team or team forming. What? What's going on? Oh.
What's
This thing, I don't know. Oh, okay. I understand.
You won first place with the hardware hack?
Okay, does this work? Awesome. Yeah, so Avi probably wants me to be helpful about team forming, but essentially this is 12 data points filtered through my own bias. So just some information about those data points. I've been to 12 hackathons in the past 11 months, 38 teammates, so that's the small data set I'll be referring to. Also, you can stalk me. There's a link. So there's this XKCD that I thought was relevant because it talks about how changing one word can make a problem go from really easy to extremely non-trivial. And I think that's relevant here because there's 2 possible problems you might want to solve. One is finding a team. The other is finding the right team.
finding a team, like, you literally have to apply effort to not be able to find a team. You have to seriously want to work alone, because a team will find you if you don't find a team. But finding a good team is actually hard. So let's do the simple problem first. You're never going to be the only one at a hackathon looking for a team, because hackathons tend to be hundreds of people. And really, there's an unsustainable strategy that's worked for me a few times. Just go on the Facebook post, indicate that you're attending, and wait a few days, someone will message you. It works, but it's not going to scale well. Another safe strategy is team up with someone from CMU or Pitt that you know, because we're going to probably get a good teammate that way too. You can also do this on the bus. Most bus organizers right now tend to ask if someone's on our team and just be like, now kiss. But so yeah, if your organizer doesn't do that, get them to check who's teamless so you can talk around and find out who is teamless. And you have an extremely long time frame. Like, literally right now, you can form a team for a hackathon a year from now. But the issue with that is, you know, shit happens. People might not actually be able to come. So if you start earlier, you're going to have more time to plan. You could also get the whole team in. So you might not know this, but a lot of hackathon applications, if they're going to admit 3 people on the team, but the 4th person they aren't going to admit, if you sign up as a team, they'll admit the 4th person anyway, just because they don't want to break the team. So that's the biggest advantage of creating a team before the hackathon. But the issue is that, like, you don't really know what's going on at the hackathon. You don't know what the sponsors are, what the APIs are, what's available there. So you might build a skill set that might not really match what you need at the hackathon, or you might lose people and have to adapt in interesting ways. And later, and if you start a team like the night before a hackathon, you're probably going to get all people on your team to actually show up at the hackathon and be part of the team. But it's also a little bit tougher to build since a lot of the people have already joined teams. So there's multiple resources. You can just use Facebook, which is probably the most simple and actually the most effective as well. There's also a site called DevPost, which I will talk about later. And hackathons have other things. They have the spreadsheets they have spreadsheets for people looking for teams. They have the bus. You can talk to your own friends, and they also have team forming events at hackathons. So again, the only way to not have a team is to not want one. Basics on the resources. So Facebook, most hackathons have a Facebook event or a Facebook group. For MHacks, for example, it was HHMHacks. But if you go on there and if you post that you want looking for teammates, make sure you check your other folder, because you're going to end up with a lot of, like, if you look at it a few days later, you're going to see like a lot of unread messages from people who expected a response and like just awkwardly got turned down. There's also a site called devpost.com, which is where people post their hacks at the end of a hackathon if they want to present. It's not perfect, but make one now because you'll have to anyway. It's also a good place to like look at people's backgrounds, see what sort of hacks they like to enjoy making, and like whether they're hardware, software, design, etc. Hackathons have their own spreadsheets, which don't have that much data. There's not that many people participating. And of course, there's the team forming event at hackathons. So usually there's not that many people there because it happens like before most people even get to the hackathon. But you can actually talk to them in person and figure out what they want on a much faster basis. And of course, there's your friends, and there's strangers, which is my favorite part because you get to meet a lot of cool people. Like what Russell said about meeting people in Germany that he meets on a 6-month basis. Yeah, and German. But this is the more complex problem, finding the right team. So it's like, well, I'm not going to say it's like calculus, but you want to optimize for generally 2 things: having the most fun at the hackathon and learning as much as you can. So, you know, what sort of hack do you want to make? Do you want to string together 50 APIs? Do you want to just go for a prize? Do you want to see how much hardware you can use or make a human shock collar? I actually did that. Do you want to make the next Uber for Tinder, for Facebook, for Twitter? Or do you just want to have fun? And what kind of people do you have a hard time communicating with? Like, for me, I probably wouldn't be able to team with a person who wants to string together 50 APIs. And I wouldn't actually have, like, good communication with a person who wants to build a next startup. But you might. So you want to figure out who you're going to have a communication breakdown with, because that's just going to get in the way of having fun at the hackathon. Another thing, if you have an idea, don't build your team around a skill set that's only going to work for that idea, because there's a good chance that that idea might not actually be what you do. For example, last weekend I had 2 people on my team who did completely software and 2 people who did completely hardware because we had a specific idea. But we lost one of those people who did software and ended up pivoting to a human shock collar, which was not what we intended to do and was kind of tricky. So just make sure you can communicate, don't have breakdowns. Try to match interests. there's two things you should match. First is interest. As you might notice, it's tougher as you get like 4 people because you get like a whole variety of interests. But your the interests that you overlap in are going to be the space in which you can make your hack. And it pays off to get this right because it makes communication a lot easier. For example, at Penn Apps, 2 of us like went on a trip to like buy vibration motors from 3 hours away, or 2.5 hours away. And when we showed up, 3 hours later, there's like a lot of things that changed, right? So it was really nice to like be with the team that like I could communicate to really well because it took us 15 minutes to catch up. If we weren't able to communicate that well, it probably would have taken a lot more time and would have cost us confused hours, made us like caused us to like create code that we wouldn't actually use because we had different ideas of the hack, and allows us to build better presentations because we had the same idea. Also, figure out how you can make your skills complement one another. So when you have people with like different skill sets, like for example, they work in Java, you work in Ruby, and someone else just design, you want to figure out how you can combine those. You always want to have an idea going in of how you can combine those skills, so you don't just build 2 separate hacks. But don't avoid people with different skills or skill levels because they're still complementary. So try to be specific but flexible. So know what sort of skills you want, know what sort of interests you want to match with, but also be ready to like completely change your idea. So you want to have a broad space, but have an idea of what that space is. Another thing I want to emphasize is that complementary skills and complementary interests aren't the same as having the same interests. This is a hack from Boilermaker 2014, the first hackathon I went to. And the interesting thing about this is that this guy could code, these guys couldn't. So these are completely different skill sets. But they ended up making a good hack, which actually won a few prizes because they were able to combine those skills. Because while Michael, I believe it was Michael. While Michael focused on actually figuring out why JavaScript doesn't work on Pebble, the other 2 went around doing user experience testing and ended up coming with a pretty good hack. So ultimately, the trick is you want to get hella excited about your hack. So it doesn't matter what your hack is. You can make a civic hack for people with depth perception or without depth perception, or a human shock collar, as long as you get excited, and that's what your team comes in for. And really, there's a lot of things that like you need to get over the reality that you're probably living in like 19th century labor conditions over that weekend. So find a team that you can get excited with. So some other tips and tricks for specific cases. If you're looking for a hardware team, look for the person carrying a 3D printed 3D printer to the hackathon, which actually happens, because hardware hackers tend to carry around a lot of hardware with them. If you want to work with some things like Mayo, Leap, or Oculus, you want to also look at someone who's like already worked with them because figuring out the documentation takes a lot of time. And don't limit yourself to your team. There's going to be people outside your team, like Russell, who spends like hours helping people outside his team. True story. Like he spent an hour on the team. Yeah. Ask people outside it for help. And ultimately, all you need to do is find a team you can communicate with. So good luck.
Or should I just plug it in?
If you could send it, that'd be awesome. I see there's a bunch of people who are like standing in the doors. We're gonna do some. Just put if you link me in Facebook, that'd be great.
How do I do that? Who knows?
If we could do some like file compression of the room, that would be awesome. So if
How
there's
do you
like
share this?
actually defragmenting is more accurate. So if there's like any space, just like kind of shift over as much as possible. Try to make some room for the people who are coming in. Next time we promise we will book a bigger room. This is literally the biggest room we could book. Given 2 weeks notice. What is okay, perfect.
Go. When you're demoing before.
Well, side note, have your demo ready before you demo.
Alright, Russell, calm down. Designers in the house. Hell to the yes. How many designers are in here? Hands up. Even if you're design minor. Hell yeah.
Awesome.
What is this for?
That's like
It's
we're
for what?
live streaming it. So just
Oh
put
my
that on
God,
your
to
next
who?
to the entire world. It's on the homepage of Google right
Hey,
now.
Mom.
Okay.
Is it up? Nice. Look how pretty that is. Okay. So I'm Tiffany, and I'm talking today to you about design at hackathons. So I'm a sophomore design and HDI major. I've been to 3 hackathons: Princeton, Torton Hacks, which is here, and then Penn Apps, which was 2 weeks ago or last week. And then 2 out of 3 projects that I worked on have won prizes, which is awesome. And I've completely self-taught myself HTML and CSS just like being at hackathons. Okay. So many of my design friends, however many are in the room, always say to me that they want to participate in hackathons, but they feel like they're not good enough because they don't know any CS or programming. I really just want to say design can make or break everything. I've seen so many projects where it's like 3 back-end people and their project looks like this. And I'm just like genuinely so concerned. Like there's really, I mean, okay, I was in the shower like 20 minutes ago and I was thinking of a good analogy for you guys. And I guess it's like you wouldn't show up to the TOC in like pajamas, right? Okay, so you wouldn't bring your project to the demo area expo thing like looking like it's in its pajamas, okay? Like you want to dress it up nicely. Yeah, question.
What's those back end and front end? Ooh,
nice.
really
Okay, well, as a designer, are you gonna answer? Let's see what the SCS people say, and then I'll give like a really simple definition.
Okay, so they're kind of loose terms. Generally, backend. Who was the question? Yeah, you asked it. Okay. So generally, it depends on the context, but generally, front end means something like making a website. So making the interactions that go on within a website, like making links work, all that kind of stuff. Backend usually refers to like servers. So this could mean different things. If you're making a mobile phone app, the front end might be designing the actual interface of the application.
Yeah. So the front end is what the user interfaces with and interacts with.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a much better way of saying it.
Yeah. If you
design
if you see it, it's front.
It's just what you see.
Yeah.
If it's back end, you don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll explain this in like you'll see what I mean later when I show like my project. Okay, so do you guys get the design makes or breaks everything? This is like really sad out here, okay? Don't do this. So why should you get a designer on the team? Or like what can designers bring to the team? They're basically, sometimes they're the people who have ideas. That's what's happened every time I've been on a team. It's like generally, I don't know, I'm not going to generalize, but like, I don't know. I just have like crazy ideas and I just throw them out and then like usually 1 out of those 50, the CS people are like, yes, that's great, we can do that. And then, I don't know, it's just good. And then we basically do the visual and user experience design, which is super, super important. So what do you get out of it as a designer? It's just a great portfolio piece. I mean, this applies to anyone who's doing hackathons. It's just good for your portfolio, even if you're not a designer art major. I always talk about my hackathon projects at interviews, not things that I do in the class. I mean, if you were just thinking about it, if like BuzzFeed is interviewing me and somebody else in my class, if we both have the same assignment that we're talking about, I'm horrible at drawing, I'm not going to get the job, like, obviously. But if I show my hackathon thing, it's great because you're doing something that's outside of the class. And then it's just good practice. I'm so productive at hackathons, it's ridiculous, and like I said, I taught myself HTML. Well, where's Oscar? Oscar? Okay, so mentors are a really great thing at hackathons. I don't know if you guys already talked about this, but at Tartan Hacks, which was like my first serious hackathon, I literally called Oscar for a mentor at 3 in the morning, I think it was, and Oscar was right there, like, I think you were sick or something, and you were still helping me through everything, and the second hackathon I did after that, I did all HTML by myself, which is just, like, incredible. And I still thank Oscar for that. All right, so I'm going to show you the project that I made at Penn Apps, which is called Neolingo. I'm just going to take you through the demo of what I did to show the people at the judges, and this ended up winning a sponsor prize, which was for Airbnb, for scaling human connection. Okay, so I'm just going to go through my little spiel. So I'm going to take you through the user journey. You can log in, whatever. Hit sign in. No. So here's your dashboard. It looks really pretty. There's like some cool JavaScript stuff in here, and you can see like how many sets you've done. Oh, I forgot to tell you what the project's about. Sorry. Okay, so Neolingo is a tool that teaches you the local etiquette and customs of a place before you go. I think that's really important because a lot of people, they think that if they just study the spoken language of a place, they'll just fit right in, but actually you'll find yourself in really awkward, uncomfortable situations if you get a custom wrong or something. So anyways, back to this. So you're learning through flashcard sets. So you can see here like all the stuff you've been doing, how well you're doing with graphs, and here's a forum that you can participate in. We built in like a messaging system, so if I find a really good flashcard set and I think Carolina will benefit from it, I can just send it right to her, and she'll be like, thanks, Tiffany. Okay, so if we go and add a new country,
let's say we're going to Japan in 2 weeks, and we know nothing about the business etiquette, dining manners, like whatever. So we broke it down to 4 simple categories that we think you should really study. We're specifically going to focus on table manners. So these are your flashcards. I didn't want to make something that was really boring, like Quizlet, whatever. So on the blue side, you can read, like, it's very disrespectful to eat food while walking in Japan. Why? Because Japanese culture dictates that, there's a typo, okay, that food deserves proper respect. Or, like, when you get a small wet cloth at a Japanese restaurant, use it to wash only your hands before eating, and then it tells you, like, what to do next. Okay, yeah, you get that. So go back to the dashboard. Japan has been added, and then we're going to go take the quiz. So here, what should you do when you're given a wet towel at a Japanese restaurant? Anybody? No. Oh, all right. All right, Russell, wash your face. No, incorrect. And then it gives you an explanation why. So then if we go to the next question, how much did you tip in Japan, et cetera, et cetera. Slurp loudly when you're eating noodles. These are all good things to know. And then lastly, say this before you. Okay. Yeah, so that's basically my project, and like I demoed it like this to the people. Now, if we go back, click to exit full screen. What is this? No. Help. I don't know what I'm doing. How do I do this? Help.
There you go.
I'm sorry for the people live streaming this. Present.
Yeah.
Thanks, Caroline. Okay, so resources that are great. You guys should check out Bootstrap 0. I'll just quickly click this. Oh my god, I shouldn't have done that. I'm not gonna know how to go back. But these are all templates, okay? Wow, what is that? That's literally my website, right? Yeah, I did not code this by myself, guys, obviously. But the thing is, like, to give credit to myself. So you can download the code here, whatever, it's there. I don't think it makes sense to, if you want to code something from start for front end, like design people, go for it, but it would take hours. I really would just recommend using these themes. Look, this looks exactly like the dashboard that I just showed you guys, right? Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, exactly, but that's the point, guys. It's really like good design. Did I show you the slide that said good design is like a magic trick? Where did that go? How do I go back? I'm going to teach myself Google Docs when I go back. Sorry.
Oh, man, that's not yours. Oh, it's in the tab?
This is why you need CS major. I love you guys. Click the exit full screen. Nice. Okay. So really, my advice to you guys is, oh wait, I didn't go back, sorry. Also, GitHub is really useful. Caroline pointed that out before. I just wrote this quick blurb. I don't really know what open source means, but I guess that means you can kind of take things from other people, I guess. But like the no. I'm not really sure if that's like illegal, but anyways, that flashcard thing that you guys saw up there, that was pulled from somebody's GitHub, and I didn't credit them. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, but. Wait, but I just want to tell you guys, I still did work. Like, I was still up every night. Guys, what the? Oh, my God. Okay. No, seriously, guys? Anyways, no, I seriously was working, though. I did most of what you saw up there, like 90% of it, and I was still up every single night at, like, 4:30, coding, doing this HTML and stuff, because you can download the template, but you still have to, obviously, change it to fit your project. So, yeah, always, like, browse GitHub and stuff for good things. And then my advice to everybody is that, like, you don't have to be a designer. Like, Caroline, it's really funny. Caroline's one of my really good friends here, and she's an ECE major, but she's a design minor. And it's really funny that during the entirety of Penn Apps, well, first of all, I didn't know who else, was doing design there as, like, an actual design major. So I asked Caroline every single time for help on feedback on it, and she's like not even a design major. But she cares enough about colors and fonts, and that's really what it is. That's really what it is, guys. Google Fonts is incredible. You can see down here, that W is everything. Like fancy W, I'm not even kidding, okay? Yeah, I'm being like really serious. This can even affect your resume. Look into Google Fonts. And then just spend some time to read blogs and study like what's out there already. If you think like the Tinder interface is really great, okay, then like mimic something like that. Actually, this reddish pink was taken from Airbnb. So I was listening to their tech talk yesterday, and I was like, wow, what font and color is that? I just stole it, and it looks beautiful. So, okay, and then lastly, just take electives. We offer so many electives in the School of Design. I know that the Communication Design Fundamentals course is like has an insane waitlist every semester, like over 80 people, 100 people, and it's really, really useful. Or just be assertive. Like, if there isn't a designer on your team, just be that one person to take charge and kind of just say, like, no, guys, that looks awful. If you know what you're talking about. Like, if you kind of know what you're talking about. Okay, but that's basically it. Thank you so much. Does anyone else? Any other questions? Did you guys, wait, to answer your question, that was all front end because there's nothing that was back end. Like, if the sign-in thing, wait, let me just, but see, I don't tell anybody this, like, I don't tell the judges this, but really quickly, like, you can just log right in. Okay, wait, actually, wait, sorry, I totally missed, I know I'm taking up a lot of time, but I'm just going to show you guys this. The messaging system doesn't work, okay? Oh my god! Oh! Thank you. Okay, if you don't want to go to Japan, I don't even know what happens. What if you typed in America? Japan! Nice! And look, that's broken. Like, I don't even know what's going on. Okay, and then also, like, guys, these forums don't even work. They literally do nothing, okay? France is not even here. Okay? So, yeah, this is front end. If it actually worked, it would be back end. Do you get what I'm saying now? Like, no! Alright! Never mind! Alright! Guys, what the hell? Is that not back end? Alright, guys, thank you so much. Alright.
Okay, so just to give a quick update. We have one more awesome talk by the team that won Pen Apps for hardware. I just got a call from the pizza guy. He'll be here like imminently. So basically, after the talk, after this last like micro talk, we're gonna make a couple announcements about things you might be interested in, and then we're kind of transitioning from like we're not gonna talk at you. It's just gonna kind of be like pizza and chill, basically. Yeah. So we're gonna have a bunch of pizza. We'll probably bring it up here, or maybe put it outside. And you're welcome to stay, talk to people, talk to us if you have any questions. But that's where we are. So Cyrus, do you have slides or something? Sent them via email. I got them via email. And I'm getting a phone call. Hello? What's on?
Oh, okay. What on earth is this? On my neck? Just like this? Oh, okay. Vasu. Rajat, do you want to just come up? Okay, cool. Yeah.
We're talking about topics we're gonna watch.
Well, not. So we have slides. He's gonna introduce ourselves, not just take us through the slides. Oh. We're gonna introduce.
Okay, change the title to Hardcore Hardware.
No, it's PDF.
XXX Hardware.
No.
Do this again.
No.
Whatever. Well, you can have either the end. This is a new part. Hey, we're ready to start.
Does this work?
Yeah.
Oh, hey guys, we're in Fifth Sense. We're the team that did hardware in Pen Apps. This is what we made, and we're all hardware people, so we're going to talk about how to do hardware hacks. And yeah, I'll give the talk to Cyrus.
All right, cool. So the first thing I'd like to go over is distinguishing between, what is hardware, right? What is hardware hacking? So we kind of categorize it in two. One is where you're given devices like, an Oculus Rift, or a thing like Myo, which is a arm controlling, like you can use your arm to control devices. Or the Muse, which is a headband that can detect whether you're angry or frustrated. And then stuff like the Parrot drone. So you can actually have drones at hackathons. Although at this past Pen Apps, they're like, no drones. So we're upset.
But I'm actually cool with it. Though.
Yeah. But then the other type of hardware hacking is where you actually just scratch build everything. So, take an Arduino, take some sensors, take some motors, maybe connect it to a phone over Bluetooth, but you're basically building stuff from scratch. The two aren't incompatible. You can have a mix, but there's two kind of different approaches. So we did scratch hacking this past pen apps. First you have to figure out what you have access to. So actually this is a preview of a catalog we put together of all the parts that we brought. Yep. So this is probably half or a third of it, and then we added the stuff that they had, and it was 1%.
Notice how the first category is all silent? This took us an hour to make.
Yeah, so that fit in a couple of these boxes, and that you really need to know what you have access to so that you can figure out what you're going to make. Although I will say, don't limit yourself to what even if you bring a lot of hardware with you, you still have access to all the other hackers there, the hardware they have, and the rest of the city that you're in. So we actually had to go buy vibrating motors and buttons, or actually we didn't buy buttons. And there's only one store that had vibrating motors, one legitimate store. Yeah, we're not doing that. It took them 3 hours to get it, and we actually bought all the motors they had in Philly. So then that was 6. Yeah. So yeah, figure out what you have in stock, but don't limit yourself to that list. And then you need to find your space. So at this past Pen Apps, they had 3D printers there. But they also had soldering stations and oscilloscopes and stuff. So it's ideal if you can work in that space because then you have quicker access, right? You don't have to walk back and forth. You don't have to worry about leaving your stuff behind. Also, it's easier just to communicate with those people if they're right there. And another thing with access to those resources is that they're not 24/7. So 3D printing and laser cutting, which Pen Apps usually has, they're only available because whenever the volunteers are there. So that's probably from noon to 8 p.m. or something. So you have to work around those constraints, and being there helps. And then split it up. So we're all hardware hackers, but we can't work on the same thing the entire time. So we had people doing software, electronics. I was doing CAD. So do it all in parallel. I mean, that kind of makes sense. So yeah, designing it. Basically, if you're going to have 3D printing or laser cutting, you have to come up with the actual 3D model that you're going to send to the machine. And so there are some tricks here. You don't really have time to print something and then not have it work, right? Because the 3D printer is not going to be accessible the morning of. And so whenever you're doing tolerance or when you're measuring parts that you're going to be printing components to fit, give yourself some leeway. Give more than you would expect. If it's supposed to be 5 millimeters, make it 6 millimeters so that something will actually fit inside. Also, if you have access to a soldering iron, you can always use that to mold the plastic a bit after. It's not your soldering iron, so it's okay. Yeah, and then feel free to sketch your designs out. So yeah, and then this is just a sample of some laser cut parts that we got at 2 Pen Apps ago, and this is one of the parts that. So I wasn't satisfied with having 8 hours of 3D printing access, so I brought my own 3D printer. That helps a lot because then you can CAD when you're supposed to be printing. So this is the interface for setting up those 3D prints. And then you're always going to make a mess. That's expected. It'll be okay. So yeah, that's what we just showed you. It's a complete mess, but the judges were totally fine with it because it didn't affect.
The other side.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, I'd like to. Oh yeah. Okay.
You should explain it.
So it's a device for the visually impaired. What it does is you can communicate in Braille with this device. Basically, what you do is when you want to transmit messages, you type in Braille patterns by pressing these buttons, and then if you want to receive patterns, then you put your hands here and feel the vibrations that vibrate in Braille patterns. So what we did was we connected this up to a personal assistant on Android. And so you would basically type in queries here, and you would receive back the answers to your queries in Braille. So yeah.
So we combine input and output, and allow people to actually walk with their smartphones while they're blind. Ooh, another tip, by the way. If you're checking out hardware, always leave the opening ceremony about 30 minutes early. Get in line, be the first 5, because otherwise you're not going to get an Oculus.
Which you obviously need. Every hack. Yeah.
Just don't ask him how many Oculuses he can borrow this day, because he'll give you.
Seriously, guys? Is there a question? Okay, well, I want to see hardware hack next time. Right. Thank you.
Okay, cool. So pizza's here. Before we eat pizza, there's a couple announcements, plugs for other related organizations. Oscar and Chef, could you come up? Is anyone from Computer Club here? Don't think so. Okay.
Technically, it is.
Okay. Some. Oh, come up to the front. Chef, you want to go first?
Yeah. So
Wait, before you say anything, put this on. Otherwise, no one can hear you.
hello, people in the live stream. So as I said before, we are starting Steelhead, which is going to be the sister group of this at Pitt. I met most of the people who came here from Pitt, but I don't think I've met everyone. I saw some people like walk in. I'm like, I recognize you from campus, but like, you didn't walk here with me, so you're not on our bus selfie. But like, you'll see what a bus selfie is pretty soon. But yeah, so please just come talk to me. I'll give you more information, and I'll make sure you get all the information about hackathons at Pitt and about hacking and fun events, basically. So yeah, come talk to me.
I did this right. Hey guys, so I should have actually worn a t-shirt or something with the Skylabs logo on it. I'm from Skylabs. You guys have heard some really great stuff about all the hackathons and why they're great. And some of you who may be a little bit, you know, this isn't your first rodeo, you've already done some hackathons. Come help run the biggest, best hackathon at CMU. That's what Skylabs does. We run Tartan Hacks. It's in February, among other things. We have other educational opportunities, and we always need great people like all of you in here to help us make Tartan Hacks happen, among other things. We have a general interest meeting tomorrow at 5 at UC Dowd. That's where it is. Tomorrow, 5 UC Dowd. There will be food. I'll be there. Taylor will be there. Like, what more do you want, really? Yeah, that should be about it.
Awesome.
So,
I didn't have anything really to say about hackathons, but if you want to, I'm from the Computer Club. If you want to continue working on exciting projects, and get access to lots of cool resources, even outside of a hackathon, I guess you can get those from Computer Club.
And also a plug for another organization I'm part of. ACM at CMU is the Association for Computing Machinery, is this national organization that kind of promotes professional computer science related things. ACM at CMU, among other things, runs Hack CMU, which is CMU's beginner-focused hackathon. It's happening, I think, the 24th and the 25th of September. Registration's closed, but as an organizer, I can tell you that a lot of people don't show up, and if you show up, even if you weren't accepted, like 9.9 out of 10 times, we'll just let you hack. Having said that, it's really geared towards beginners. So obviously there's a lot of people who are new to hackathons here. I would really encourage you to participate as a hacker. But if there are people here who are, say, more experienced like our presenters, and you're interested in mentoring, you can also show up for that, and that's hugely helpful. So before we break into pizza, I just want to get some information. Raise your hand if you learned something new today. Awesome. And raise your hand if you had fun and thought this was cool. Yeah! Awesome. So thank you guys so much. We're really happy everyone showed up. Next time, we promise we'll try to find a bigger room. We're going to bring pizza in a minute. You're absolutely encouraged to stay and hang out. We're all going to be here for at least another hour. Come talk to us. We're going to bring pizza in here. Thank you all very much.
How do I stop streaming? Oh God. How do I stop streaming?